Good evening, and welcome to the St. Petersburg by Night podcasting network. Tonight, we present to you our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, Bloody Strings.
Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to St. Pete by Night. Tonight we are playing Bloody Strings. I am Devlin, your humble storyteller this evening, and these are my lovely players. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, I am Noree. I will be playing Bellatrix, Whip of Clan Malkavian.
Hello, I am Truckexe, and I will be playing Drake Monahan, the Brash Bruja.
Hi, I'm Kendall. I'll be playing Maggie Haywood, the Lekar.
Hello, I'm Lekar, and I am playing the not-so-well-dressed ne'er-do-well Toreador, Matthew Halden.
Hey, I'm Mew, and I'll be playing Sophie Clews, the malted milkshake Malkavian.
Thank you very much. Now, last we left off, after the Coterie handled some business, they went and finally met Drake Monahan, the Bruja, who was participating in the Kindred Fighting Club. They also had an interesting encounter with Victor, who also seems to maybe have some interest in Drake. After their discussion, they went on to carry on their own business. And we will go ahead and pick up the following evening before the group comes together for the job. We will start with Drake. Drake, what are we doing this evening?
Drake's gone to the early hours of KFC to meet up with old friend, contact, useful individual all around, Jackson Ranker.
You find Jackson kind of seated in the spot he normally tends, where he kind of gets a little bit of a vantage point, can see most of what's going on through the space, but still secluded enough that most people don't come to bother him. He looks like he's kind of sit back in his chair, making sure everything is getting set up proper for the festivities this evening. And he's kind of rolling a pen between his fingers as he's looking down at a few documents on the table. As you approach, he kind of swipes them, stacks them, and sets them to the side. What can I do for you?
Hey, Rex. I was just, I had an interesting encounter yesterday. Just a very pretty man by the name of Victor Adams, who said some interesting things. I want to see if you knew anything.
About what he said? You're gonna have to give me more information.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we're gonna get him in the ring to bare his soul, but it looks like I'd guess a Tory at all that. But the main thing he said was that he mentioned a garden of all things. Yeah, my thoughts.
Well, that could be concerning, but we're far from the only one who deal in gardens.
I know, but this one caught. I'll be straight with you. This one kind of caught me on guard. He seems quite fascinated with not only me, but with potential clientele that I'm working with, and they seem to have a bit of a history.
This individual has some dealings with a group that just hired you.
Yeah,
Is that what I'm hearing?
It doesn't look like happy dealings, neither.
What can you tell me about this group?
Oh, one of them's apparently the whip for Clan Malkavian. Then you got a pretty boy who seems rather sure of himself. Someone who seems to like some dead people. Very calm, collected. I gotta give her credit for that one. And then, probably the most stereotypical Malkavian I've seen in years. The names were... Right. Bella... Adam... Maggie, and a Miss Sophie Clews.
I'm familiar with the Whip of Malkavians. I understand they dealt with a group from Chicago about a month ago. A little under. That's a pretty reputable group. If you're working with them, you probably shouldn't have any issues. Maybe this Victor individual probably is bad news. What did he want from you?
He at the very least wants a meetup. It's entirely possible that I couldn't say, if I'm being honest. He mentioned a garden, knowing it would draw my interest, so he knows that much, but you know me, I'm not the one for subterfuge and all that shit.
Well, I know there was some younger kindred going about spouting some shit about Michael, but I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything about Lilith.
Well, I would appreciate if you could find anything on this Victor Adams. I'm hardly gonna go put myself in front of a possible trap.
Well, definitely sounds like a problem. I'll keep an ear to the ground, see what I can find.
Who you got fighting tonight?
He kind of looks over his documents. I got a handful of people who are just looking to possibly get a name out there. The only person I got worth note. Looks like somebody conned Gabriel into coming down here again.
Oh. Big shot?
You haven't met Gabriel yet?
Let's just say, the etiquette thing, not quite my strong suit. I take it that means he's a Bruja?
Yeah, if you're gonna be in the city, you need to get over that shit.
Ah. Message heard loud and clear. I'll make sure to introduce myself. Who knows, maybe we can introduce ourselves through a bit of a fight.
He's a stick up his ass, but he's alright.
I'll take your word for it then. Look forward to it. I'll try to stop by later. I think I'm going to probably need to meet this group and see what they got going on.
No, you can fucking wait. Do the job first.
Fair enough. And he'll pat Jackson on the shoulder. Keep in touch, my friend, and make sure to save a good fight for me.
Sure. I do need to address something. You're my friend, and I don't mind letting you use the facilities, but I don't need you to step on my people when they're doing their job.
Yeah, I was thinking you'd forget about that. Fair enough. You know me in business. That's not an excuse. I'll remember it.
Appreciate it. All good here then.
No.
I'll see you when you get back. Now I'll see if I can find anything about this week during the meantime.
He'll tip his hat. Yeah, have a good night.
What is on your mind? You turn away from Jackson and head to the agreed upon meetup.
Drake is honestly concerned about this Victor, but he's looking forward to working with apparently a well-known group. Hoping to shine, for lack of a better word. But also filing in his head, crap, I need to meet the freaking Primogen.
Okay. As we shift away from Kindred Fight Club, we shift our direction toward Matt. Matt, what are we doing this evening?
Matt is currently at the studio getting himself ready, and he is going to make his way back down to De Noche to finish the first of several murals he'll be painting for Carmen.
What does the, if you would give a little bit more of a description of what it is that you're working on in regard to the mural?
The mural, which has now completely taken over the horrid luchador that was once there, there's a very young, dark-haired woman wearing a very flowy dress that is standing at the foreground of the background scene. It is the silhouette of the cityscape of St. Pete's from the perspective of the St. Pete's Pier. she is surrounded by several black roses that are coming out in every direction. They are scattered throughout the entire mural, mostly circling around her, as if she's picking them up and throwing them.
Okay. As you have been taking the time to work on these projects, what is on Matt's mind in regard to things that have been happening lately?
He's thinking about how much has gone on and the chaos that has ensued. And part of him is thinking about how much Mina would have loved this, but he would have not been able to explain any of what it means to her. And he's sad, but also grateful for that, because he wanted to keep her as far away from this world as possible. And he's grateful to Carmen for giving him something to occupy his brain, because this has been very cathartic for him, in a way. It's given him something to focus on that's not little black rain clouds hovering all over the place. And wondering what was going on with Victor, but he's got that so far on the back burner because the rest of us will sort that soon enough.
As these thoughts of Mina and the project itself are kind of more in the presence, the front of your mind, you get to the part where there's a bit of, you get to where you are flourishing the end, so to speak. What does well, as you reach the end of your project that you've spent a good few weeks working on now, your mind seems to linger a little bit on the things that you had to hide from Mina and the things that you now don't have the opportunity to share. You think about the fact that you don't have, unlike the rest of your coterie, there's not something clinging to you. And that notion of not having something hang off of you is almost heavier than the idea if there had been. Give me what's an awareness. You start getting wrapped up in your head a little bit when all of a sudden You hear a ping off of your phone. Just enough to kind of catch your attention.
Somebody must have information. And then he'll check to see what it is.
It's from Carmen, forwarding another message. It looks like another article.
Joy.
It seems your favorite copycat is facelessly hosting a gala. Where they promise to showcase works from their greatest scores.
Jesus, Louis, you were arrogant prick, but I didn't think you were this ballsy. Mina would be so upset if I killed him, despite the fact of what he's done to me. I'll just break his legs, that's it.
What do you do after you receive that information?
He is going to just look at the article again, sigh exasperatedly, and pick up one of the fine brushes that he has, and hurriedly put his initials at the bottom, but it's going to say AT, but it's going to be signed in such a way that it almost looks like an M. And then he's going to clean himself up the area, and then he's going to send a mass text to everyone and ask to meet them at the Ascent, because apparently we have a party to go to. And then he will make his way back to the studio when he's done cleaning up and everything.
As you go to clean up, we will shift the scene again. A little further away from the Ascent, we'll find ourselves with Maggie. What are we doing this evening?
Maggie is at the Dolly about to meet with Edwin Kane.
Okay. You're again greeted by the guard, brought in to the building, taken through the normal pathway, but instead of being taken to the closet that you're familiar with as his office, you're instead taken a little further past this into kind of one of the larger displays of the Dolly. You can see the cameras have been turned off on your approach, and Edwin, you spot speaking to somebody that you have not met. The person's wearing a flat cap, vest, and a long sleeve button up with slacks and boots. He's got something like a bag slung over his shoulder. They talk for a moment. Edwin clocks you. You see him kind of begin to end the exchange. And the one he's speaking with goes to move on, and he makes his way toward you. Edwin is, instead of the typical kind of just like bland grays and blacks they typically wears, the coat that he's currently wearing over his clothes appears to be much lighter, and is more of a blue color. He's wearing a generally the same hat, but his glasses are now also blue instead of black. He steps forward. My apologies for making you wait. I hope you didn't have to wait long, Miss Haywood.
No, I did not. Maggie would step forward. She's wearing something a little more casual than she usually does, but still long sleeve, fairly light. Hair's tied back, and she's got a pendant hanging around her neck, and that red still on her finger. She would give him a very polite and curt smile. I have some business if you have some time, Mr. Kane.
Well, he kind of looks back to the person walking out of the main room. My whole schedule just freed up this evening, so yes, I have time. How can I be of assistance?
I have either some family that is in town or coming into town, and they were wondering if we would be so kind as to host a family gathering within this domain.
Really?
Yes, it's a from what I understand, it's a business meeting.
I see. Are they intending to meet with the prince, or this is just...
I do believe it is between parties within the family. I am sure that they will make sure to introduce themselves to the prince if they are allowed within the system to do their business.
Certainly, I imagine an introduction would be in order, but we have a passable alliance with the, well, alliance is a strong word, but acquaintanceship with the Akata. I don't think that should be much of an issue. Okay. When would be expecting to host your family?
Maggie would pause as she thinks about when that they had said the date that they wanted to do this on. When did they want to do this again?
Roughly sometime within the month.
Sometime within the month. They did not give me many specifics.
I guess that puts us on us then. Very well. I will speak with Carmen, and we will figure out, I guess, housing and a date.
Thank you. I will tell
I
them
suppose
that
outside of that, they can figure out their own arrangements. Go ahead.
Of course. I will make sure to tell them that we have confirmed arrangements on this side, and to push for more specifics on what they need and want from this and what they might cost.
That is a little peculiar that they are approaching in this fashion, though. Usually, if, like yourself, or when Amethyst came into town, there's just simply a notification and an introduction. I'm not sure what the situation is here that calls for a different decorum, but
I'm unsure, but if I were a gambler, or if I were to assume, I would say that it may be a security measure.
Fair enough. If that's the case, though, it must be somebody of, well, maybe somebody of a particularly high status. So I guess we'll have to make sure that they get here in one piece.
Of course.
Well, we will figure out the arrangements for that. Outside of that, how are you settling into our city?
I'm settling in quite well. I was also wondering when we would be making those arrangements with this employer that we had previously discussed of yours.
Yes. Well, what are these? Are you wishing? Well, you can't meet them directly, unfortunately. But
Oh, of course not.
is there?
But
Go ahead.
I was just curious about the arrangements that we would within personally because of the agreed upon terms that we made before, and
Of course.
how that would be arranged with our coterie.
Fair enough. You'll have to forgive me. Most of my documents are in my office, but if you wouldn't mind refreshing my memory, what is it specifically that it is that you're wishing for?
Oh, I had my terms had been to acquire the resources and holdings of these fellows from Chicago when they came down here. You had informed me that your employer would
Yes.
absorb them.
Yes. Sorry, I thought this had to do with I do recall that. I thought we were discussing the matter of property and such moving throughout the city. But no, I'm on the same page as you now. Yes. I did actually have a conversation regarding that matter. He has no objections to it. He simply wanted to make sure things were cleaned through the space before he released it. He had no actual need for the institutions, I suppose. So if that is the case, for services rendered, we can go to my office and I can go ahead and hand you the deeds.
Of course, thank you.
He guides you back through, heads to his office. He gestures for you to sit down across the desk as he goes over, and you see him begin to shuffle some of the books, and then you hear a heavy. He pulls the bookshelf forward. Wait here a moment, and steps through, closes it behind him. What's on Maggie's mind while she waits?
She is in a mindset where she needs to focus on the deals at hand and the business at hand. But she is very curious. She'll probably start inspecting the books that he has on the shelf. And it's just pretty interesting to her in here in general.
As you're kind of looking at the shelf, you see there's a couple shelves. It's like classic literature, and then underneath that you have a couple of books regarding philosophy, psychology. You find some books that seem to like hint toward more of the occult, more into arcane and theistic practices, but almost seeming into more of like a atheistic approach into those studies. Give me a wits awareness.
What's an awareness?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Two.
It takes a little bit. Like I said, you see some very general, like these are kind of books that you would typically see, like the top shelf with like classic literature, and a lot of the top 2-3 shelves are things that you would find in like any library. Below that, you have the same things that I already mentioned. It takes a little while, but finally you do notice one book that is very narrow compared to the spines on the rest. It has no title on the spine. and it looks to be a deep, almost rusted kind of brown color in the leather.
If she pulls it off the shelf, does it have any reaction?
When you go to move it off the shelf, you can see there's a little bit of resistance.
She will leave it there then.
Okay. As you return to the other side of the desk, you hear the door click open again. The shelf pushes forward. Edwin steps out, holding a folder. He closes it behind him. There is the documentation. It is the deed to 3 properties about in the same area that we know that they were operating out of after a clean investigation. These are the holdings that they were using north of the territory. After an investigation, we found they had 3 locations. They are now in your name to do as you please.
Thank you. These will make excellent bolt holes if we need them in the future, considering our various operations that we may do.
Certainly.
May I ask you an odd question?
Sure.
She will walk over to the bookshelf and kind of put her finger on the spine of that journal looking thing that doesn't have a name on the spine. What is this?
That is a private work of mine. Collection of... It's a journal.
Ah,
I usually don't have it so on display, but I found myself in a hurry today and set it on my shelf.
I see. She would pull her finger off of the spine. I'm not one to pry into other people's grimoires. They're like diaries. Suck her hand back into her pocket. But I appreciate this.
Of course. We made a deal. You kept your end of the bargain. It's only fair I keep mine.
Yes. And I look forward to working with you on arranging this meeting for my family. I do appreciate your help, Mr. Kane.
Of course. I'll reach out to you once I have some information in regard to setting. He kind of turns his head like he heard something that shouldn't be there for a moment, and then closes his eyes and reaches down. You see him pull out like an old flip phone. He picks it up, reads something, and then he closes it, puts it in his pocket. Is there anything else that I can assist you with?
No, but it looks like you're about to be quite busy, so I will get out of your way.
I appreciate it. I will see you soon, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
You as well. And she will start to out.
What are you thinking now that you have these things after your meeting with Edwin?
She's satisfied that she has things. She's really curious about what's in his grimoire. But she knows better than to start trying to pry in front of it. Pry into it in front of him.
Mm-hmm. And where are you headed? Well, about this point, you would receive a text from Matt saying that they would like to meet at the Ascent.
She would check the text. She would send back, I got some deeds. We may have some alternate locations that we can make into safe havens. I'll meet you at the Ascent.
As you make your way, not a very long drive from here, but as you make your way to the Ascent, we will shift scenes again. A little further past the Ascent. Sophie, what are we doing this evening?
Sophie is at Books and Bourbon, awaiting a meeting with Duncan for him to meet her there.
As you are waiting, are you waiting up in the office or are you downstairs?
I'll be downstairs at the bar with a glass of water sitting in front of me.
Okay. There are a few people that are kind of present at the location. Not as busy as some of your nights, but pretty steady. As you're waiting there, about 20-30 minutes pass before you hear giggling come from the front of the building. As you turn and look, you see Duncan kind of back up against the window of your establishment. Seems to be kind of hands kind of hugging the hips of a gentleman in front of him. They're kind of smiling, talking back and forth. Duncan kind of leans, and you see him reach the neck, and you've seen something that he does this similar before. It's almost as if he manages to, in one fell swoop, get what he needs and heal the hole before anything happens. And as he pulls back, the guy kind of looks a little lightheaded, like he just had a little too much to drink, and he kisses him on a cheek, and the gentleman turns around. Duncan kind of sits and tilts his head and watches him for a moment, and then straightens up, turns around, and enters the establishment. Sophie.
Yes, hello, Duncan. It's a bit loud down here. Why don't we talk in my office?
Oh, of course. After you.
And I'll lead him up to my small apartment that I'm still keeping, even though I've frequently been spending more time at the Ascent with this looming spirit worrying me. But I go up the stairs and I turn to Duncan. So, I have wonderful news and troubling news. Which would you like first?
Okay. Let's go with troubling.
Well, Bellatrix, the whip, was contacted by someone going by the name of Jay, desiring to meet with us. I assume, based on a letter as a name, that it's likely Julian Springs, although I wanted to ask you about that because I wasn't sure. I know that that's a name that is connected, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's troubling. Julian Springs is our grandsire.
Yes, well, it seems he wishes to meet with us. It could be advantageous to meet him with someone like Bella, where we have some numbers. I'm not sure if we should get Charlie involved, for if our situation were to be discovered, having an official like the Oracle find out about that. Well, Bella is the whip. She has gotten to know me a little more, and perhaps being part of the Coterie, maybe she may not be as hasty to report or potentially get you in harm's way.
Do you suspect Charlie would put me in harm's way?
I don't believe she would intend to, but if there are official rulings, I'm not quite sure of the process, but she may feel obligated to report to the prince, and then that would be
I understand.
an issue. And with her station as Oracle, I feel that she might be compelled to follow the law to the letter.
And you think it's best that we meet with him rather than get the fuck out of the city? Pardon, but do you think it'd be better for us to stay and talk to him? Considering?
Well, it is risky, but if we play our cards right, he may be satisfied with what we say, and then if he decides to leave or to continue a search, perhaps he could search elsewhere, like the east. Then we could continue to live our lives here. And in the worst case scenario, if there is trouble, we could always leave after. That could be our secondary plan of action.
You want to blame the beckoning?
If that's what that's called, yes, the calling.
Okay.
I mean, he was very old, right? I mean, older than us. You may know more. I mean, how old? Do you know how old he was?
He's been around for a while. I have no idea how old his sire is.
Well, it's hard to tell with the French. They're always so outdated anyway. So old-fashioned.
You have a point. Perhaps I can see this working, but I don't know if me being there would put a hole in that plot, because it has not been that long. If he has the eyes for it, he could see.
Yes, well, you were indisposed before on a job for Edwin Kane. Perhaps it is better we could slightly give him some false security if we aren't lying when I say that you are busy on an errand for Edwin Kane. Perhaps if you were to be obligated to something when I were to meet with him, he could easily tell that I'm not lying, and then he would be less suspicious of any future white lie. Or perhaps you could do something for Charlie, or something for Bella. I mean,
I also don't like
especially
the
if you
idea of
did it
you
for
going.
Bella, she would also be telling the truth too.
Sure, but I also don't like the idea of you going to see him on your own.
Well, I would probably go with maybe Bella, and then maybe have some of the coterie, close by.
You probably wouldn't make a move on the whip. Not immediately, anyway. Are you sure about this?
No, of course I'm not sure, but I feel that running away would just admit guilt when that's not quite necessary.
When would you be doing this?
I haven't set an exact time yet. We do have an obligation to safely deliver something.
How long would it take?
Well, I'll be fairly busy with this delivery that we've been charged with. So when I see Bella, I'll probably suggest that we meet perhaps in a few nights' time. Would that give you enough leeway to get busy?
I think I can make something happen.
Good.
Okay, fine. You said you had good news.
Yes. So, earlier I went to go try to buy a gun, but I was distracted by a bookstore, and inside it had many books. And there was this section which had a lot of books with these drawings in them. But what was very charming is these books, you read them backwards. You flip them over and you read them that way. I have never seen ones like that before.
That seems horribly ineffective.
No, it can tell the story quite quickly when you're looking at the drawings because, visually you can take in a lot more information. It was quite compelling, although a bit violent.
Are these like those anti-Nazi children books from the 30s?
Well, not so much propaganda as looking. It tells a story, but just mostly in a visual format, and then it'll have some of the characters will have text speech and such.
You'll have to show me.
Yes. Actually, I bought one of them, and she'll pull out of her purse this book, which you do read backwards, and it has these very interesting drawings in it.
He will sit down and read it with you.
This is quite beautiful, isn't it?
What's this called?
Oh, well, I actually can't really read the front of it because it doesn't really seem in English, but it is a wonderful story. Other than it is quite violent. There's this poor boy and his mother's just eaten by this horrific creature. It's awful, but I really like the small blonde boy that likes to read.
Interesting. It is incredibly gory. I will say that. No, yes, this looks very interesting. You'll have to show me more. I suppose going back to Julian, is there anything that you need from me other than making myself scarce?
I suppose I just need you to keep yourself safe.
Well, recent events excluded, I feel like I do a fairly decent job at that. Now, I have some news of my own.
Oh, yes?
While I've still not been given audience to enter Tampa, I have found an old estate of a relative of mine who apparently lived on, this part of town, more in the neutral territory, I believe, but you never really got to experience any of the parties that I used to throw. And considering what your friends have done, I would love to invite you all to one, as I have just purchased my own home.
This is really quite wonderful. Oh, I'll have to go and get a dress for it. Will it be a masquerade? Or just a regular party? Is there a theme?
Well, there is a gentleman who wanted to display some artwork there. Otherwise, no particular theme.
Wonderful. Well, I'm sure it will be a hoot.
I hope so. I do have some planning and to finish moving some things, but otherwise, we should be good to go to move from there. If you need anything, you know how to get hold of me, and I will see you soon. And please be safe with this, Julian.
Well, I will try my hardest.
He takes your hands and kind of cups them. I will see you soon. And then he breaks away and heads out the room. What is on Sophie's mind?
Sophie is feeling optimistic that this meeting will go well. Duncan will be perfectly safe, and hopefully this delivery won't be as chaotic as the previous event was with the rescue mission. So she's really feeling good right now.
Okay. About that moment, you will receive a text from Matt asking everyone to return to the ascent.
She will pull out her brick phone and see something from Matthew, and as she clicks it, oh, dang nabbit. Oh, now I don't know what he wanted. I guess I'll try to reach him at the ascent. And she'll hurry off as fast as she can.
As you quickly make your way again, not a long walk for you. We will shift to Bellatrix. What is Bellatrix doing this evening?
Bellatrix would have reached out to Hodges to see if she could meet him tonight at his house, and she is bringing a sample of new teas as a gift to his house.
As you approach the house, there appears to be a little bit of a couple of changes. Instead, like before, you had like the little fenced-in yard, like the wire fence going back like maybe 10 yards of just grass before getting to the porch. On the right side of the house, there seems to have been an add-on. Another maybe 40 feet coming up to the fence fully. Not 40 feet, about 25 feet coming up to the fence. Comes across most of the yard, but stops maybe about 3 feet from the walkway to the door. There's no windows, and it's very crudely, it doesn't look like it's been corrected to look like the rest of the house yet. It looks very new, very fresh, and it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Okay. That must be driving him crazy.
As you approach the door, you knock, and after a moment, the door opens, but he doesn't greet you at the door. He has already spun around and moved away from the door. Come on in, come on in.
I'll step inside. See, you're still renovating.
He spins around. Bellatrix, yes. I am indeed. It's
Lot of
going a
work.
little slower than I would like, but it should be done relatively soon.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, it looks like you've made a lot of progress, so. Oh, here.
Yes.
She'll
What is
hold up
this?
a small box. These are some sample teas for you. They're actually named after tarot cards. I'm trying something new for my shop, so thought I'd give you a little taste or smell.
Interesting. Well, of course, thank you. And he takes them and he sets them on the little. He now has a glass coffee table again in the center of the room that he sets the teas down on and gestures for you to sit across from him at the couch.
I'll go sit down, cross my legs.
I'm sure you didn't just come here to bring me tea.
No. Have you seen Grei recently? The last week or so?
I actually haven't seen Grei since the exchange with Chicago. I was hoping to hear something, but I haven't heard from him or any other little avenues that might have produced something.
I believe something's happened to him. I don't know what, but Grei's not the type to stay silent for this long. Usually he's contacting someone or speaking with someone, wanting attention from one of us, but none of us have spoken to him in a week, and I am concerned.
That does seem odd. However, there was... I suppose his experience with me must be different than yours.
Probably.
Especially considering you are a group. It makes sense you'd have more context in this. Well, I came to you for the reading, and you gave me some things to think about. I'm sure they haven't gone without crossing your mind.
Indeed. In fact, I suspect someone, but I'm not sure if you know them.
Is it the Mr. Adams?
Indeed, it is.
Yes, I am familiar, somewhat familiar, with the nature of this relationship.
I spoke with him and asked, and he said he had not seen Grei either, but he did not seem upset about it. And given Mr. Adams' obsessive nature with people he has fixations on, this was suspect. That's the best word I can come up with it. I had a vision, but a lot of it doesn't make sense yet. There's fountains, gardens, golden water that darkens. I think there was a rose, but it's shattered. Thousands of pieces, like a kaleidoscope.
I see. And if you don't mind me asking, what is it that you thought I might be able to assist with?
What do you know about Victor Adams?
Mr. Novak and I went into a agreement of sorts some time ago. Nothing intrusive, just blood, company, and conversation. He told me a little bit of your encounters, with Mr. Adams. I voiced my concern then, not knowing much of him at the time, but I certainly didn't like what I was hearing. But he insisted. So I tried to do a little digging. I don't like my associates being tampered with. Not without permission, of course. This Victor, there is not much of a footprint, so to speak. He doesn't settle down in a place. He moves very rapidly. I know that his models tend to not do any work after he is done with them. And he is a really, really terrible photographer.
Not a fan of his work, I see.
There's no color.
No, it's not. Grei told me a while ago that Victor's last model died. So it just increased my suspicions that most of them probably don't survive Victor.
The last one. I actually have a little insight on that fellow.
Oh?
I didn't know he was dead last I'd heard. He got dropped into the bay. See, he's an anarch, or at least was. Went by the name Brighton. Him and his little group got into some trouble, and the Baron there killed one of them and dropped the rest into Tampa Bay. But from what I understand, only one of them came back out. The rest were, and no one's really sure what happened to them. If he is dead, that means he likely was fished out or discovered.
Interesting.
But I do know that he did have connections with a Victor Adams. And the images I saw of the individual did match his previous model.
The one from his most recent showcase. The one that got burned down.
Yes. I think he had a different name on display, but Brighton was the name of the anarch that received punishment.
That is interesting. His brother was looking for him. During the show, I met him. What happened to him? Kind of lost him in the shovel of other things. Well, honestly, I didn't come for a specific thing other than to see if you had known or if you knew of Grei's location or if he'd contacted you, since I know you and he had some sort of thing happening. I'm just trying to narrow down the paths, so to speak.
Well, what if, hypothetically, I happen to have some information? And considering the nature of my relationship with Mr. Grei and yourself, I could offer this information for a small, minor boon.
Sure.
Excellent. I have an address.
Okay.
He stands up, walks over to the little counter, like the little island counter between the main room and the kitchen. Reaches over and snatches a post-it note, which is currently being held by like a little cartoonish-looking cat, kind of gripping the post-it notes in place. Yanks it out, begins scribbling something, and he takes the note, steps over, hands it to you, and he gives you the address to a manor, which is in a gated location up in Clearwater.
Is this Victor's address?
It is not under Victor's name, but it is one of many addresses, such as the one that you didn't have any affiliation with a certain arson.
I mean, I was there
arsonist.
to witness it. But
Of course.
yes, of course.
This particular property is listed under the same kind of nonsensical layout and financial holding as several of the other establishments that Victor has used to showcase his artwork.
Thank you. I do owe you a minor boon.
Anything for a friend.
Of course. No, nothing else for me. I'll let you get on to your renovating. I know that you do not like a messy place, and you probably want to get it done as soon as possible. So, have a good evening.
It is hard to find a decent employee in the area at the current moment, but I do appreciate the consideration. I will be reaching out soon, and please, let Sophie know. I look forward to hearing from her soon.
Of course. I'll let her know.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You as well.
As you step out, what is on Bellatrix's mind?
Triumph. I have an address. Don't want to make a move yet because I haven't quite decided what I want to do. If I want to take matters into my own hands or manipulate the politics of the Camarilla to bring him in. Is this address in Clearwater or this address in Clearwater, is it in the neutral zone or still in Camarilla territory?
It's like as close to the border while still being in Camarilla territory as you can get.
Still gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna have to learn the fate of Grei before I can see what path I want to take. But I will tuck this little address away for later.
About this point, you'll receive a text from Matthew saying to meet at the Ascent.
Yeah, we have planning to do anyways. I'll head that way.
As you make your way to the Ascent, with that, we're going to go to break. Go ahead and take 5 minutes, use the restroom, get some food. We'll see you back in a few.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors, Wolfpack Dice, Ember Fox Dice, Dragon Ink Dice, Bear the Bard, Champs Tramps, Penshi Artista, and Chromatic Creations. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpbynight.com. The official theme song for St. Petersburg by Night is Vampire by Faith and Failure. You could find them at faithandfailure.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our program, you can do so at coffee.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling.
Hello, welcome back. Vignettes out of the way, our coterie make their way back to the ascent. We'll go ahead and say you guys have regrouped. You're already together in the room. I'll say furthest distance, Bellatrix, the last to enter. The seat is yours.
Matt is currently adjusting the coterie painting on the wall. It's a little crooked, and he's like, that's better. It's in the spot where Nick would put his string board. He has completely rearranged everything, so now it is hanging there.
I think you changed the furniture too.
Oh, I plan on getting all new stuff.
Mr. Halden, unfortunately, when you sent me your message, I clicked a button and I couldn't read it, but I came down here as soon as I could. So I was curious, was it important?
You could say it's important, mostly for my reputation, but my friend is making another round of calling me out. So, who wants to dress up for a ball?
Well, this is quite humorous. Duncan is also inviting the coterie to a ball in Tampa.
Tampa?
Or near Tampa. He mentioned he has an old family estate, maybe near Tampa. But he's inviting us all out to a soiree.
Interesting. Did he say what it was about? What the whole premise of it was?
Well, because he has this new estate, so it's like a welcoming party for coming back out into society.
Interesting. Okay.
So 2 balls, 2 dresses.
Apparently,
When? Do we have dates for these things?
was there a specific date on the article?
September 13th.
Yes, it is the 13th of September. And also, apparently, he's going to be displaying his trophies. I'm sorry. He's going to be apparently displaying my trophies.
Oh,
But they're
did
not-
You... Oh, sorry, Bella. You go ahead.
But they're not really your trophies, right? You have your own trophies. Or did he take your trophies too?
He's been claiming all of my stuff is his own, so... Of course, he's claiming to be me, so...
That's very friendly.
Do you have a storage facility where you keep your trophies? And
that's the thing. None of the stuff that I've taken was ever kept, really. if it's... I'll put it to you this way. If you look at the price tag, it's a lie. We never stole paintings to keep them. We stole paintings to sell them. We fenced them. I'm trying to think how to explain. Okay.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to understand. You say that you have kept trophies.
That's the thing. I don't know what I'm going to see because I have nothing of my own that I would put on display, especially if it was the stuff that we've taken. Because people would go looking for those.
There is a possibility. You make forgeries, don't you?
Yes, that was our entire thing. Have you ever heard of the Mona Lisa variant?
Yes.
The big store?
Mm.
We called it the Boston Marathon. We basically took the two of those things. You got to watch us run away with your money.
What if he stole your forgeries and is now going to be displaying all of your work?
Then there are a multinational amount of people who are going to be very pissed off when they see them.
This
Mr. Halden.
sounds like a trap for you.
Oh, it's very much a trap. I've no doubt.
I'm a little confused. If this is your friend, why would they do this? And why would you receive calls from them?
Miss Clews, he was my friend at one point in time. He has not been my friend in a very long time. He stopped being my friend when he stabbed me in the back.
You know, all this reminds me of a movie my friend made me watch a while ago. Except there was magic and sorcerers and dragons. But there was this thief who was pulling heists, and then his friend got him framed, and then there was this necromancer, I think, that was trying to take the souls of people. And anyways, they went after the thief, but that's beside the point. I've lost the point at this time. So what do you want to do?
He's calling me out, and I would love to see his face again.
Okay.
But we have some time before that. So we'll discuss that at in the future. We can worry about that. He took 8 years of my life. He can wait 5 more minutes.
Okay.
But I just wanted you all to be aware of this happening. So
It is good to know that you have a stalker.
what do you want to do to him, though? Like, you don't just want to wave and say hi, right?
oh no, I'm going to get my pound of flesh. One way or another. Mostly I'm going to figure out why.
So, more immediately, I suppose we should wait for...
The gorilla?
Yeah, our new hire.
Before he arrives, I will have to ask, what is the most we are willing to pay him for this work?
If he wants a place to stay, we can find a place to stay for him.
Okay. Maggie will pull out the various deeds. I'm not sure if any of these are in Cambridge territory, but we do have buildings that we can use for the coterie. I was thinking maybe temporary bolt holes if we had any business in the neutral zone. But I'm willing to part with one of them. I'm fairly sure there are at least 3.
Interesting.
Where'd you manage those?
Oh, these were belonging to our friends from Chicago. I obtained them from... It was part of my deal with Mr. Kane. I wanted their resources left here. They left quite a few things. And we can do whatever we like with the properties.
Nice.
I don't like it when people... I don't like to allow people such as that to come back. In any form.
Speaking of coming back in other forms, Maggie, have you found any more information on possibly how we might help our situation with our uninvited guests?
There is something that I have learned how to do recently, but I will need to... It will require someone that knows how to fight, which is why I inquired with that gentleman that we spoke with, if he is available for any further work after this work. I would like to see him in action before proposing such things. After all, I would need someone that would be able to stab something once it's made corporeal.
Well, I have stabbed before, but it would be much easier with some muscle, so, yes. If he requires more, resources, I could scramble together some money and add to that.
We will see what prices he requires before we pull together what you have, Sophie. From what I understand of him, he's looking for a place to stay and maybe some form of acceptance. I do not think he will ask for much.
So, about the job that we're to do tomorrow. Does anybody know much about Palm Harbor?
I know quite a lot about Pearl Harbor, but not about Palm Harbor, sorry.
Two different places.
That is an Anarch territory, isn't it?
It is. Devlin, would I know who the Baron of Palm Harbor is?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Ian Fair.
Yeah. It's run by a Baron Ian Farrow. Ventru, I believe. Strangely enough. Heard there's been a lot of plumbing issues up there. Some pipes bursting or things. A lot of waterworks.
Yes, I've been told about that. Is this work meant to be off the books, or is there anyone that we could help, that we could call upon to streamline this process?
According to Edwin, it's a legitimate job, so I don't think it's off the books.
Oh, do we not have an emissary to the Anarchs?
Two.
Or an emissary from the Anarchs?
We have two to the Anarchs. I don't know if we have any from them, though.
Perhaps if we coordinate, we may be able to make this a little more streamlined.
That depends. According to Edwin, there's maybe some Anarch interference, so I'm not sure if they know we're doing this. The city knows.
So this may be a little more off the books than we anticipated.
On their end, it may not be off the books on our end, like the Camarilla end. Which means we probably could contact either of the emissaries, I suppose, that are part of the Camarilla, the ones to the Anarchs, and see if they have information if you'd like.
That could be useful. You could also be good to have them on the back burner just in case any incidents occur while we're doing such a transfer.
I could potentially speak to someone who has some connections with some city officials. Maybe I can find out more if this is, like you said, on the books.
Sure, I mean, it's not the first time Edwin has been untruthful. Perhaps this is another one.
Do we have any discrete vehicles, since we are transporting essentially a corpse?
From what I understand, they're providing the vehicle. We are just escorting, so I don't have a car at all.
I see.
Right, we're escorting the transport, so
Do we have an exact location?
not yet. Edwin's supposed to provide that sometime tonight.
Actually, I think you guys will have received that by now. You're supposed to meet up with a couple of individuals. He gives you the address of a parking lot outside of a depot. I won't say which one, but yeah, basically, it's supposed to be quiet and secluded. You're supposed to meet the individual there, go over what the transport's going to look like, and then perform the transport. They'll give you the details on arrival. But it is like right at the border of the two baronies for a quick exit and move.
I will be upfront as well. I won't really be able to contribute to any driving, but I could be hidden in the back with our cargo to surprise any would-be assailants.
What would you do after you surprise them?
Well, I would, of course, protect the cargo as best as I could.
How?
Well, it depends. If the assailant is attempting to attack us, I would respond with equal but opposite force.
Can you hit people? Are you good at hitting people? Do you fight?
Well, I took some boxing back in the
Okay.
day. So mostly if I were to catch them off guard, it would work out. But that's why we have the muscle if it comes to blows. But I think the best option for me in helping would probably be hidden.
Okay. Can anyone drive?
Ooh, look at me.
Dr. Corwin can.
Perhaps our new muscle might be able to drive. Perhaps they could be also an intimidating presence in the front wheel. You might think twice about assailing a van or a truck with a large person in the front.
Given that our possible opposition or anarchs, I doubt that they would really care. Also, he wouldn't be much muscle if he was busy driving instead of punching.
That was my thought. Keep him with whatever or whoever it is we're bringing, so he can focus on the hitting and not the steering.
Can you, Sophie, use any sort of weapons?
I did do I've shot at clay pigeons before. That's quite fun. I was fairly good at it. And if I had, a really big stick, I'm sure I could use it to my advantage.
How close would you want to get if you came up and surprised someone?
I suppose if I were to surprise them, I'd have to be fairly close. Unless I had a gun, which I thought about purchasing, but I unfortunately got a bit waylaid by other desires.
So, do you know how to use a gun well?
Well, fairly. I'd say I know how to use one. If it's more of a rifle type, probably that's what I've had experience with.
Okay. One moment. Oh. Head outside, up to like into one of the back rooms we have, and then come back out with a small duffel bag. I just bought this. So maybe you don't do hiding, and maybe you man a rifle. Set it in front of her. And I can do the hiding.
Well, I'll woman a rifle.
Yes, woman a rifle. I'll set it in front of her. Go ahead. You can take a look.
Sophie will take a look at it. Is it similar enough to an old style rifle that she would be able to figure it out?
It is a one-shot rifle, so.
Damn, Lee Harvey.
Yes, I think this will be all right.
Excellent. I might put you... Honestly, I don't know if we're taking 2 cars or if we're just going to be in the transport. Maggie, what about you? You have any ideas on how you can help this escort?
I figured that if we run into any kind of interference, that I have some pull with the police. In a general sense.
Okay.
That, and I also generally carry a gun. She'll
Okay.
pull it out of her purse.
Gonna work.
Mhm.
Matt?
I'm not a gun person. I usually talk my way out of situations instead of fighting my way out. And I don't drive.
Well, perhaps you could be in the passenger seat. That way, if anyone stops you, like perhaps a police officer, we may not be just stopped by other kindred, but if an officer were to stop you, you might be able to talk your way through it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can do the workaround as long as it doesn't come to physical violence.
Okay. Then I need you to plan the routes to get us out of the territory. And to the Dolly. Make at least 2 backup routes. 1 main, 2 backups.
All right, I can do that.
Excellent.
Were we thinking about taking multiple cars?
Possibly.
Good. 3-card Monty.
I'm gonna text Drake to see where he is at this point.
Yes.
I thought Devlin had a specific list. Drake will mention he's just at KFC, watching over some things.
You're missing all the fun planning.
Planning's the boring part. Acting on it's the fun one.
So you're not coming to the planning session.
Didn't say that. I just don't know where I'm meeting you.
I'll text him an address.
Be there in 5. And he'll get on his Harley and roll on down.
After you guys talk a little bit, before long, there's a knock at your door.
Let him inside.
Howdy. Mighty fine place.
Have a seat.
You'll see he's in a longer jacket. As he sits down. And he just puts his feet up. So, what have y'all got so far?
Oh, just be a little careful. And Sophie will grab the magazine under his foot and tap his foot a little. Just off this, please. Thank you.
He'll
She
put his
adjusts it
feet
to the
down.
side.
So what y'all got for me?
It's an escort mission from Palm Harbor. We'll be transporting someone or something from Palm Harbor to the Dolly. there may be Anarch interference.
So, free reign on how to handle them?
Following the traditions.
So, stakes and guns, no swords.
Yeah, Arthur, no swords.
He'll tilt his head at the other comment.
Oh, I actually know this one. Good one, Mr. Halden.
We will be picking them up from this location. She kind of pulls up the map, like Google Maps, on her phone, and points at the location on the border of Dot and Dorothy and Zeke's and Pharaoh's barony. And we will be escorting them all the way back to the Dolly. There may be Anarch interference, but we are looking to do this as quietly as possible.
Okay. So just to be very clear, what is the hard limit on how much I can defend y'all and myself?
As Bellatrix said, abide within the traditions. We may be entering Anarch territory, but we are still members of the Camarilla.
You'll see him look up. Alright.
Now, when we say
Okay.
quiet,
I would rather not burst on another water main up there.
no, traffic will be minimal, depending on what route we take. What if we found transportation that makes sure traffic doesn't get in our way?
What are you suggesting?
Ambulance?
Or a hearse. Maggie, I assume the mortuary has access to perhaps hearses?
Yes, we do have access to hearses. Another option that we may be able to access if any of you have a boat.
No. I do not.
It was worth a shot. Because she kind of points at the map. It would go clear around the territories.
I mean,
It'd take longer, though.
So I think you're underestimating how far a determined individual will go.
I do not believe that I think these anarchs are more opportunistic than they are determined.
Well, stake one, I'm sure they'll send the message then.
Well, you would only do that if they were attempting to mortally harm you, correct?
Oh, that's without a given.
Good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Look, I'm a violent man. That doesn't mean I don't have restraint.
seem very flexible with the traditions, though. Almost disappointed that we said to abide by them.
It's more that when you're trying to make sure you're not Ash, having to hold yourself back can be quite a problem. But I'm not exactly against them. It's just I've had my fair share of moments where it was either kill or be killed.
Well, I'm certain if any of them come after you with lethal intent, and you are unable to hold them off for whatever reason, she kind of looks him up and down.
Fair
Then I'm
point.
sure that could come to that, and we may be able to lighten whatever sentence you get due to the circumstances. But I don't believe with your capabilities and whoever we might run into that will be necessary.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
I don't think she was
Sophie.
flattering you.
Well, the way I read it, I'm strong enough that I shouldn't have to worry about breaking the traditions in terms of being good enough that it won't be necessary.
We wouldn't hire you otherwise.
So be it. I will hold back.
Speaking of hiring, what is your typical cost of labor?
Well, at the present moment, I just want a specific space that I can ensure is safe and establish myself throughout the city. I'm not exactly... I'm a little new to this town. So making sure I can lay my head safely is a little bit more paramount. Don't get me wrong, the other Brujah are not lacking for hospitality, but something about having your own place and being able to operate under your own scrutiny is a different thing, yeah? And from what I hear, y'all are quite the group to owe that from.
Brujah sounds like one of those teas that Bella would make.
Oh, we definitely have a way of spilling our tea, that's for sure.
But yes, we will require you to be in the car to guard us and whoever we are escorting down here.
Alright.
Nothing over the
Nice.
top unless it becomes absolutely necessary, and only if it's safe to do so without us having to clean up a mess.
Fair enough.
Yes, I believe that we may have, it should be simple enough if the parameters are given are as simple as they say, but with how vague they are, I get the feeling that whoever we're bringing down has made enemies. So just be aware of your surroundings.
I am not the biggest genius in the world, but there's one thing I've learned, it's that nothing's ever simple.
I do also have one of these wonderful smoke grenades from Mr. Halden when you made them for us for the other mission, which I ended up not using. So if I have to on this one, it'll be ready.
I would ask if that looks like I'm about to engage in an altercation. Please don't use those near me. I'm a man of many talents. Seeing through smoke isn't one of them.
Well, I will keep that in mind, depending on the situation. And
No, they're great for getting away.
Devlin, Edwin said he'd supply us with things we needed for this, right? I believe.
If you needed something, yeah.
So he could supply us with a couple cars.
Yeah, he can supply you with a couple of cars. He said you guys would receive more details when you arrived.
Okay.
There is somebody. Hang on.
Do we also get drivers with those cars?
You can give me, whoever wants to, can give me a charisma and persuasion.
I'll give an assistance, but
I'll do
I
it.
was going to say I can add to it.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. Add 2 dice.
Spend a willpower too. Five successes.
Okay. Yeah, you can get a couple of drivers.
Okay.
And you are there to meet Rafael Cordova. That's your point of contact on the job.
Okay.
I believe this is about as far as we can plan until we get.
More information.
Mm.
Agreed. But we can get some. We have some cars. And drivers. Might be able to use one or two of them, or one of them at least, for a decoy, possibly. Throwing that out there. But
Nice.
given the other information. Yes, Drake, you're going to probably be in with the actual cargo.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
I might be in with the cargo as well.
Mr. Halden, are you fast?
Not as quick as our new friend here, but I think I might be able to keep up.
Then perhaps you should be with the decoy. If we have 4 cars, one of which is the correct one and 3 of which are escorts, maybe able to hit 2 different routes with 2 of the cars going in one direction and 2 of the cars in.
I will go ahead and add, considering that you are leaning really heavily into a decoy plan, there are 2 trucks, which that is part of the arrangement that you would have received.
Okay.
One truck is hauling cargo, one is decoy. You guys will be escorting one of those trucks, and they'll be taking different routes. So I'm going to go ahead and give you that information, considering your plan does seem to be heavy kind of around that.
Okay. So if we have 2 cars, one will probably go with the actual truck and the other could go as a decoy.
Yeah. Okay, I just plan some routes. Get us there quick and safe. I'll be in the decoy car. We'll have our friend here with the actual cargo. Bella, if you want to go with him.
Would you like to go with the decoy, Sophie, or would you like to go with the
Perhaps I could be in the car behind our truck with the rifle. The small distance shouldn't be too much of an issue, and I could apply perhaps suppressing fire if someone is attempting to bring the truck to a stop.
Okay. That sounds good.
I
Maggie?
can go with the decoy.
Okay. So, Matt and Maggie on the decoy, and then the three of us on the actual truck. Drake and I will be inside the truck, and Sophie will be in the escort car with her with the rifle.
Okay.
Yeah, this could work. I'm absolutely certain this could work. Yeah, Drake, I'm absolutely certain that you will be perfectly fine with this. Bella, you with him to keep an eye on him. I'm sure everything will be great. And I'm going to activate Double Talk.
Could you please refresh my memory?
Give me 1 second. I will send it in beta.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I'm going to roll my rouse.
Okay, so give me what's in all specs, and anyone who's present can give composure. Or no, you give me what's composure and obfuscate. Anyone else that has auspex can give me wits, and because it's an audible thing.
Are you sending it to me?
Yes, Bella's going to be the recipient.
I'm not rolling.
No, I think you're good.
Wits and aspects?
Yeah.
That is 2 successes from me.
I have to reroll. That is 3 successes for the bestial fell on my blood die.
So everybody but the person who is meant to not hear it can hear it.
Perfect. As he's talking and saying that he's certain that he'll do fine, he's going to just say, if he fucks this up, I'll make him walk into the Atlantic. And then just kind of look at Bella and smirk.
She'll smile. I'm certain we'll be in capable hands.
With that, you get a text from Edwin. Raphael's waiting. We need to get moving.
I believe that's our cue.
Allons-y.
With that, we will bring... I'll do both. We're going to go on break. We'll be back in just a little bit. And we'll see you when we return, if we end up wrapping this up as one episode. Thank you for following us along as we'll be ending the session. We look forward to seeing you in the next chapter when we go on this lovely escort mission. See you then.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Bloody Strings is produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pact. The storyteller for Bloody Strings is Devlin. Tonight's characters were voiced by Kyrie, Noree, Lekar, MissyMew, and Kendall. Visit our website at stpbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.